Angelina's story does not begin with flashing cameras or red carpets, but with absence. Her father left when she was still an infant, creating a silence that echoed throughout her early life. Raised by her mother, she grew up witnessing resilience, sacrifice, and quiet strength. Money was often tight, and stability was never guaranteed, but her mother's devotion became a guiding force. Even as a child, Angelina sensed the emotional gap left behind, a space that no amount of love could fully replace. School offered little comfort, as she often felt out of place among her peers. What the world would later celebrate as striking beauty made her feel different and isolated. Those early years planted seeds of insecurity, shaping how she would later see herself and the world around her. Finding identity in a confusing world. As she entered her teenage years, Angelina struggled to understand who she was. She felt misunderstood, disconnected, and often overwhelmed by emotions she couldn't easily explain. Like many young people navigating identity, she experimented with different ways of expressing herself, sometimes in ways that reflected her inner turmoil. These moments were not about seeking attention, but about trying to feel something real and grounded. Acting became an unexpected outlet, a place where she could channel emotions safely and creatively. It allowed her to step outside herself and explore different perspectives. While the outside world saw rebellion, what was really happening was a search for belonging. Those years were messy and complicated, but they also built the emotional depth that would later define her performances. The first glimpse of recognition. Her early career did not explode overnight. It grew slowly, shaped by small roles and persistent effort. When she finally began gaining attention, it was not just for her appearance, but for the intensity she brought to her work. She had a rare ability to make characters feel real and vulnerable. Audiences noticed, and so did critics. With recognition came pressure, and with pressure came scrutiny. Suddenly, every choice she made was examined and discussed. Fame did not simplify her life, it complicated it. She was no longer just a young woman figuring things out. She became a symbol, someone people projected ideas onto. That shift can be overwhelming for anyone, especially someone still learning how to understand themselves. Love, chaos, and growth. Her early relationships were intense and deeply emotional. She often described love as something powerful, something that could both heal and hurt. These experiences taught her valuable lessons, even if they came with challenges. Over time, she began to recognize patterns and understand what she needed to grow. Relationships that once felt consuming eventually became stepping stones toward greater self-awareness. Rather than defining her, these chapters helped her evolve. They showed her the importance of balance, communication, and emotional health. Growth rarely comes from comfort, and for Angelina, these experiences became part of a larger journey toward understanding herself more fully. Motherhood as a turning point. Becoming a mother marked a profound shift in her life. It brought clarity and purpose in ways she had not experienced before. Caring for her children required a different kind of strength, one rooted in stability and presence. She often spoke about how motherhood changed her priorities, encouraging her to focus less on herself and more on creating a nurturing environment. It was not about perfection, but about showing up consistently. Through motherhood, she discovered a deeper sense of responsibility and connection. It also gave her a reason to build something lasting and meaningful. The transformation was not sudden but steady, guiding her toward a more grounded version of herself. Using influence for something greater. As her platform grew, Angelina began using her voice to highlight global issues. She traveled, listened, and engaged with communities facing hardship. This work was not about image, it was about impact. She approached it with sincerity, often stepping away from the spotlight to focus on real-world concerns. Her efforts reflected a desire to contribute beyond entertainment. She understood that visibility comes with responsibility, and she chose to use hers thoughtfully. This phase of her life revealed another dimension of her identity, someone committed to making a difference. It was not about changing everything, but about doing what she could, where she could. Facing health challenges with courage. At a certain point, Angelina faced deeply personal health decisions. These were not choices made lightly, but ones rooted in long-term well-being. She approached them with transparency, sharing her journey in a way that encouraged awareness and conversation. These experiences were physically and emotionally demanding, requiring resilience and patience. They also reshaped how she saw her own body and strength. Rather than defining her by loss, she reframed the experience as one of empowerment. It was about taking control where possible and making informed decisions. Her openness helped others feel less alone in similar situations. The complexity of public and private life. Living in the public eye means that personal challenges often become public narratives. Angelina experienced this in ways that tested her privacy and emotional strength. Relationships, family matters, and personal struggles were frequently discussed beyond her control. Navigating this required boundaries and resilience. She learned to protect what mattered most while accepting that some aspects of her life would always be visible. It is a delicate balance, one that many public figures struggle to maintain. Through it all, she continued to prioritize her family and personal values, even when external noise grew loud. Letting go and moving forward. As her children grew older, Angelina faced another transition, learning to let go. Watching them build their own lives brought both pride and a sense of change. Parenthood evolves over time, shifting from constant guidance to quiet support. This stage required trust, patience, and acceptance. It also created space for her to reflect on her own journey. Letting go does not mean losing connection. It means allowing growth. For Angelina, this phase represents both an ending and a beginning. It is a reminder that life is constantly changing, and with change comes opportunity for renewal. A story of resilience and humanity. Angelina Jolie's story is not about perfection or flawless success. It is about resilience, growth, and the courage to keep moving forward despite challenges. She has experienced highs and lows, moments of clarity and confusion, strength and vulnerability. What makes her journey meaningful is not the fame or recognition, but the persistence to keep evolving. Her life reflects the reality that everyone carries unseen struggles. It is not about avoiding hardship, but learning how to navigate it. In the end, her story reminds us that strength is not about never falling. It is about rising again and again with purpose and understanding.